Before we fully discuss deforestation in the Amazon rainforest in Brazil, let's see what the average Episcopal student knows about deforestation. What do you think about deforestation in the Amazon?
I think that they need to stop it, and that everyone in the Amazon deserves a chance at life, and that all the trees deserve a chance at life. And I think that, just nature in general is very important.
Why do you think they cut down the trees?
Because they need to use it to make things, and it's very not nice, and they need to stop it.
Carter, what do you think about deforestation in Brazil?
I went bowling yesterday.
What do you think about deforestation in the Amazon?
I don't really have an opinion because I'm not learned on the subject.
What do you think about cutting down trees?
If it's used for industry, I understand the reason for it, but I think there should also be some kind of give back in order to not lose all our natural resources.
What do you think about deforestation in the Amazon?
It's killing many animals.
Yes. And why do you think people cut down those trees?
Because they're selfish.
What do you think about deforestation in the Amazon?
I think it's dangerous. Oh, you're an environmental answer. I don't know, something about depleting oxygen and hurting
Natural
wildlife
resources.
and species, and biodiversity.
Taking
and
off what little we have left.
the awful habitats.
Or against it.
What do you think the causes of deforestation are? Why do you think people cut down all those trees?
To make
Production.
all the products that we use.
And why do you think Latin America is one of the leaders in deforestation?
Because the people in power are concerned about the people that live there. They're concerned about money.
Xander, what do you think about deforestation in the Amazon?
It's nice, I guess.
What do you think about deforestation in the Amazon? Thank you.
I don't know what deforestation.
What do you think about deforestation in the Amazon?
It's not good, because wood is good, and they're cutting down wood. Which
Why
is
do you
not
think
good
people cut down the trees?
to make money?
Good job.
And to tear down monkeys' homes.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What do you think about deforestation in the Amazon?
What is this word? What is this exactly?
Latin American.
Deforestation. Bad question mark?
Yes. Why do you think people cut down the trees?
For raw materials.
What do you think about deforestation in Brazil?
I think deforestation causes a lot of problems in the forest just because without trees, a lot of animals live in those environments, and when the trees are cut down, they don't have those environments to live in. Also, the trees put oxygen into the air, and with less oxygen, it causes a lot of problems for humans that need oxygen to live. There's lots of problems.
Why do you think people cut down these trees?
I think people cut down these trees because they forget they kind of get focused on the business part of it, and they like to use the trees for paper or whatever they need it for, and I think they kind of lose sight of the harmful effects that cutting down those trees cause.
Most students have a general idea of deforestation. The majority of students believe that money is the main reason for trees being cut down. 60% of the Amazon rainforest is in Brazil. Tropical rainforests are home to roughly 50% of the species on Earth. The Amazon is an immense ecosystem that covers 40% of South America and produces 20% of the world's oxygen. Before the 1960s, much of the forest remained intact due to restrictions on access to the Amazon beyond partial clearing along riverbanks. Deforestation of the Amazon came when colonists established farms in the forest in the 1960s. These farmers used the slash-and-burn method. Soils in the Amazon are productive for only a very short period of time after the land is cleared, so farmers there must constantly move and clear more and more land. Ranching was popular during Amazonian colonization because the grass grew in the poor soil. Ranching required little labor, generated a decent profit, and awarded social status. However, farming led to extensive deforestation and environmental damage. In 1964, a Brazilian land law passed that stated if a person could demonstrate effective cultivation for a year and a day, that person could claim the land. This act paved the way for clearance of enormous areas of forests for cattle production. Between 1966 and 1977, Amazon land values grew at a rate of 100% per year as the government offered subsidies to reform the land. The forest was also exploited for timber, which provided Brazil a way of paying off international debt. Since 1970, an area of the size of Texas has been cleared. Forest removal to make way for cattle ranching was the leading cause of deforestation in the Brazilian Amazon from the mid-1960s on. Cattle ranching is not an environmentally friendly investment, though. Cattle emit large amounts of methane. One cow can emit up to 130 gallons of methane a day just by belching. Logging in the Amazon, supposedly, is controlled and only strictly licensed individuals are allowed to harvest the trees in selected areas. In practice, illegal logging is widespread in Brazil. Up to 60 to 80% of all logging in Brazil is estimated to be illegal, with 70% of the timber cut wasted in the mills. One of the major concerns arising from deforestation in Brazil is the global effect it produces on climate change. Rainforests, of vital importance in the carbon dioxide exchange process, are second only to oceans as the most important sinks on the planet for absorbing the increasing atmospheric carbon dioxide resulting from the industry. If too much timber is cut, the soil that once had sufficient cover can get baked and dry out in the sun, leading to erosion and degradation of soil fertility, and farmers cannot profit from their land even after clearing it. The most recent survey on deforestation and greenhouse gas emissions reports that deforestation in the Brazilian Amazon is responsible for as much as 10% of current greenhouse gas emissions due to the removal of forests which would otherwise have absorbed the emissions. Deforestation has trended upward since 2012 with a sharp 29% increase in the rate of clearing in 2016. Forest removal affects the social and economic lives of the indigenous people who live in the forest and whose families have lived in relative isolation for many centuries. These indigenous peoples, like the Kayapo, have an intimate understanding of the ecology of the Amazon. Subsequent loss of these people may also prove to be a loss of knowledge. The rainforest is their home and a fundamental source of food, shelter, fuel, nourishment, cultural heritage, and recreation. Brazil has declared half of the Brazilian Amazon as a national parks or indigenous lands, effectively protecting an area larger than Greenland from intensive logging and agriculture. Brazil has received industry cooperation from Cargill and McDonald's to freeze their purchases of soybeans sourced from recently cleared rainforests, which has led to a national moratorium on soybeans grown on land that has been deforested since 2006. The cattle industry followed suit in 2009 as packing plants and slaughterhouses in Brazil refused to source cattle from ranches within 10 kilometers of deforestation fronts. With Brazil slowly increasing their efforts against deforestation, one can hope that the rainforest may recover.